Hey guys, welcome back to Senegalese Twisted. Today we're gonna talk about episode 14 of Maîtresse and Homme marié, and so many things have happened in this episode, and we're just gonna start where we left off in episode 12, and let's just get into it. So episode 12 ended with Dalanda telling Tairu and Ben like everything that she wanted to tell them, and in episode 14 we start like the next morning, and wow, Ben, she actually made breakfast, and she set the table, and she was so nice to Dalanda. And what she was saying was like, yeah, I made you breakfast because you know your job is so hard on you and you definitely deserve this. And then they started talking. Well, actually Ben started talking because Dalanda didn't say anything, and she was just like, you know what, I know that your job is hard on you, but I want you to stop talking about kicking me and my brother out. And what we need to do is find this woman and go to her house and show her who's boss. And she even, you know, made a comment about, you know, we need to mark her so that she becomes unattractive or anything. And Dalanda was like, well, weren't you the person that actually encouraged my brother to get a second wife? You know, what happened to that? And you wanted the second wife to actually get him some sons. What happened to that? And Ben was like, well, you know, children, there are not, you know, mandatory when it comes to a marriage contract. And I was like, well, that's only because that's convenient right now because you don't want to be kicked out. And Dalanda told her that, you know what, I do not have time to fight with another woman for a man. And Ben was like, well, it's not just another man, it's Tairu. And you know, these women of today, they just, you know, get on these men, and these men, they don't even have a chance. And Dalanda was like, well, no matter how you see it, your brother is the one that's at fault, and even if, you know, the woman seduced him, he should have put a stop to it because he's the one that's married. And eventually the only thing that Dalanda tells Ben is like, you know what, this is the woman's phone number or the phone number of her ex-husband, and she gives it to Ben. And also Dalanda is like, well, thank you for the breakfast because I'm sure that I'll miss that when you guys are gonna move out. And Ben was left at the table, and she was like, she still did not leave that, you know, that crazy talk out of it, of her and her brother moving out. In the next scene, you see that Regina is actually talking to herself while looking at a family picture of Dalanda, the twins, and Tairu, and saying that, you know, this used to be such a beautiful family, now everything is ruined. And then Tairu comes in, and I think that he's looking for some kind of hope that Regina's going to be like, well, I'm gonna talk to her because I don't think you guys should divorce. But it's the total opposite, because Regina just tells him how she sees it. She's like, you know what, you really effed this up. And she's also talking about a divorce lawyer, and Tairu is like, what are you talking about? You are supposed to be the person that talks to her, talks some sense into her to look at the fact that we have children together and that she should stay with me. Because Tairu actually realizes now that he does not want a divorce at all. And the thing is that I don't understand this, because we were all there when he said that he does not feel any attraction to Dalanda anymore, but now he does not want to divorce. And I don't get that. And that's also something that Regina tells him, because she's like, you know, you'll soon be a free man, you'll be able to do whatever it is that you want, and you should actually look forward to it. And he's like, no, because I do not want to lose my family, I do not want to divorce. And yeah, because Regina is like, well, the divorce lawyer will set up everything, and you guys signed a monogamous marriage, and you will separate, you know, the belongings, and that means that Dalanda will get the house and she will get the custody of the children, but you will have visitation, however it will be fixed later. And that's when Tairu actually tells her that, you know, I do not want a divorce at all. And in the end of that scene, he's actually making it seem as if it's all Regina's fault, and Regina's like, you know what, even if it was my fault, and no, even if I wanted this, you did it by yourself. So you actually made my wish come through for me without me putting any effort in it. And he could not take it, and in the end he was actually quite mad and was like, you know what, I'm not going to divorce, this is not over. And then he left. The next scene is Marem with her former boss from Abidjan, and her name is actually Alida. And Alida was telling Marem that, you know what, Senegal's rice is actually so nice and it's going to kill me eventually, and it's really nice here, and you never told me how nice it was in Dakar. And she's quite enjoying herself. And then she asks Marem about her problems and if she was able to fix it. And Marem is actually telling Alida that, you know what, Alida, I should have never come here because my problems actually got worse, and eventually I divorced my husband. And Alida was like, yeah, because you never told us that your family or your in-laws were related to the company Seneginja. And then she started to talk about her projects with Aqua something, that they were going to do the partnership. And Marem told her that, you know what, I really need to focus on rebuilding my life, even though I effed up everything. And yeah, so Alida actually eventually proposed to her to come work with her. And she was actually putting this idea in Marem's head that was focused on, you know what would be actually great if you would imagine yourself at the head of this project, the Aqua thing, and you being the head of the project, and how people would see you. People would never ever expect that. And I think that when Alida said that Marem was like, ooh, I can actually envision it. And she was trying to persuade Marem by saying that, you know what, it is really well paid and you have a lot of opportunities, and if you want, just write down your address and I'll send you all the paperwork and you can look through it and make a decision. And that's how the scene ended. And I think that Cher is going to be so flabbergasted, but also what's his name again, Biram is going to be so flabbergasted as well. Oh my god, can't wait. Amsa's uncle Pagay visiting Merdien. So in the last episode we saw that Amsa went to her uncle and asked him to actually help her with this mother-in-law problem, and he was like, you know what, I got you, even though he's going to get paid, so it's not for charity. And he actually went to Merdien's house, and they were actually talking because he introduced himself as being her late husband's one of his friends, and that, you know, he was just checking up on her. And they started talking because apparently he has children, and he was like complaining that, you know what, it doesn't matter how many kids I have, I never hear from them, and you know, they're distancing themselves from their parents. And she was actually relating to that, and she was telling that, you know, I have the same thing because my sons are even when they're here, they're always on Facebook, Snapchat, TikTok, all these social media things. And then he made the comments of like, you know what, we're two people that are alone, and maybe we need to keep each other company. And like, this is far-fetched for like saying that, you know what, maybe you and I need to get married, because that was just like the conclusion of whatever he was saying. And the funny thing is that Marié, she picked up on it really, really fast, and they were actually a bit flirting. And Marié told him that, you know what, pas gay, I understand what you're saying, and you know what, I'm gonna think about it. I'm gonna talk with my pillow tonight, and I'll let you know tomorrow. And then he's like, you know what, let me know tomorrow, and I want you to know that, you know, the pillow, he is my friend, so I think it will be in my favor. So that was their kind of way of flirting. And then he just leaves and goes home. In the next scene, you see that Rocky is at home, and Julia comes in, and she was on the phone, and she's saying that, you know what, I'm now looking for Mustafa at his house, picking him up. And right after she gets off the phone, Rocky starts to attack her, and Rocky's like, what are you doing here, and you have a lot of nerve, you are a fat cow, and this and that. And Julia was like, well, okay. And then Rocky starts to say that, you know what, if you're dressed like this, because apparently she dressed inappropriately, and if you're dressed like this just because my husband is a handsome man, that you need to forget it, because everything that's his is mine. And yeah, that was what she was saying. And then Mustafa comes in, and he's like screaming at Rocky, telling her that, you know, it's none of her business if whatever is of mine is yours. It's not her business. And then Rocky is like, no, she needs to know, she is so out of line, and look at how she's dressed, this is not normal, this is not how you pick up a married man. And the only thing that Mustafa says is, I don't care how the F she is dressed, I'm not with her because of the way she's dressed, I'm with her because we work together, and I do not want you to ruin that for me. And yeah, so eventually he leaves. And well, actually Rocky tells him that, you know what, I don't ever want to see her in my house again, and she better stay away from this house, because if I find her, I'm gonna... And of course Mustafa could not let it go, because Mustafa was like, you know what, I'm gonna invite her for dinner tonight, so that is that. And then he leaves with Julia. And afterwards Rocky's like quite shocked, because she's like, what happened to Mustafa, why did he speak to me that way, and what is wrong? And I think that she's just thinking way too much into it, and that it's not whatever she thinks it is. Next is Marié back with Pagay, and this time he's there because he wants an answer to his proposal. And from the atmosphere, the vibe, you can already tell that Marié is saying yes, and she's actually bringing it dramatically and saying that, you know what, I spoke to my pillow last night and I accept. And a lot of people might think that, you know, a marriage proposal in Senegal is not that romantic, and I have to agree with that. But I think that it's because it's more about the ceremony and the fact that people are really serious when it comes to asking someone to marry them. And in Senegal, it's really a custom to have your family members send out your family members, usually men, to ask the girl's hand. But because this is different, it's still no, it's actually the same thing, because Merdjang is like, no, just send your family members and it will be, you know, fixed and you'll have a wife. And so Bagay is actually really happy, and I think that they are really flirting in this scene. But I thought it was cute. It was really nice to see Merdjang smile, have a genuine smile, and it was really cute. And guess what? Merdjang is going to get married. The next scene is Biram coming to see Jalika at work, because before Biram comes in, it's an ad, and I'm sick and tired of these ads. But anyways, Biram comes in, and the first thing that Jalika tells him is like, you know what, Biram, if you came here for some stupid ass ish just to say hi to me at work, then you can go. And oh, I think she even said that, you know what, if you're not here to buy a car, then you should go. And Biram is actually here for a serious talk, and he's like, you know what, I really need to talk to you. And even though Jalika is reluctant, she does listen, and Biram is trying to tell Jalika about what he found out, about the fact that he went to a reunion with Dalanda, and that he found Tairu there. And he's telling Jalika that, you know what, Tairu is married to Dalanda, and if you see Dalanda, she's so pretty, she's sexy, she hot and everything. And he's saying that, you know what, he's not only married, he has 2 really beautiful children, and I just thought that you should know. And I know that he is going to hurt you, and I want to prevent that from happening. But at this point, it's like Jalika does not want to hear anything. And first of all, it's because it comes from Biram, and we all know that Biram is not really trustworthy, even though he is telling the truth. But she's also telling him that, you know what, Biram, he will not be the first man to hurt me, because you have done that plenty of times. And yeah, she does not want to listen to it. And eventually she actually tells him that, you know what, even if he has 10 wives, I want him. If he has 100 children, I still want him. Her main point was that, you know what, it doesn't matter how many children he has, how many wives, it's none of your business. And to that, I do think that she has a point. However, she should actually listen to what is said and not really brush it off as, you know what, you're jealous, you want me back, you are not serious. Because he is telling the truth, but of course it's hard. Because how Biram said it was also a bit savage, because it was like, well, I came all the way here to tell you that you are the mistress of a married man. And this is the second time that she hears that, because the last time she heard it from her friends, and it was there she was also not really receptive to it. Merdjang and Pagay actually dancing in the garden. And of course, the piece is interrupted by Biram, and he's so mad at his mom. He's like, so if your grandchildren came in right now, they would see you acting like a teenager in love, dancing with this man. Who is this man? He was so defensive, and he was ready to attack. And I think it was just weird for him to see his mom this way. And honestly, for me, it felt really weird to see Merdjang with her eyebrows done, with her lipstick. It even had a little ombre, because it was dark on the outside, light on the inside. She had some highlighter, and she looked really different. And I think that for Merjang, it's like, you know what, I'm sick and tired of these children ruining my life. I need to chill. I need to really enjoy life, do something with it, because these children will put me into an early grave. And that's what she's doing. Like, she was dancing with Page, and I think that she is really trying to find herself but also be with someone. And at one point it's really weird, but I think that it's good for her. And also it is weird because all her life, like since Biram and Cher's dad died, she has never dated anyone. So to me it's a little bit of like, it's really unrealistic to have one person actually visit you at home and then the next day you're practically married. Oh, also at the end of that scene, Page is actually trying to blackmail Biram, because he's saying that, you know what, do you really think that if your mom does not have anything to do that you will get what you want? And Biram is like, are you trying to blackmail me? You don't know me because I am the master blackmailer. And Page is like, you know what, if you want to be, you know, like a bandit, I am the bigger bandit. I'm the bigger con man. And I think that he is trying to establish a rapport with Biram, because he wants him to be a friend, but they both have their own agenda. Next, you see that Ben is visiting Jalika and her mom is there, and she's actually seated, and of course Jalika's mom does not know anything about this woman, and she's just inviting her to her house, and she's saying that Jalika should be home very soon because she's at work. And then Jalika comes in, and Ben is actually shocked because when she sees Jalika, the first thing she says is like, whoa, you really look like her. And she means the girl that Tairu was talking about that died, Mimi, I believe. And I think that that is the point where Ben actually started to understand Tairu, or see where he was coming from. Because do you guys remember what I said about these previous scenes where Ben was telling Dalanda that, you know what, we need to go to her house, we need to F her up, we need to mark her, and she was not hostile at all. But I think that Ben's visit to see Jalika was just, you know, a confirmation for Jalika that Tairu is indeed married and indeed has children and is not the person that she thought he was. And that's also how the episode ends. And oh my god, that was so juicy. Thank you guys for watching. That was episode 14 of Maîtresse and I season 2. And I cannot wait for episode 15, and definitely check out Senegalese Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I guess I'll see you guys in the next episode.